My 32 female sister-in-law 30 has always called me a disgrace and talked about how men are providers. She's repeatedly told me this and tried to shame me for having a better education and job than my husband. My husband's family are Mexican immigrants, and my sister-in-law lives in Mexico and has a Mexican husband. She recently fled the house looking for someone to stay with. My in-laws live in another state, but my sister-in-law came to us instead with her 3 children. We live in a small house in San Diego that was my grandma's before I inherited it. My in-laws live close to Houston. My husband wasn't home when his sister arrived, and I sent her away when she showed up on my doorstep. I told her to go find another provider because I wasn't it, and slammed the door in her face. My husband heard from his family and came home from work, and I told him that he had to pay for her hotel and plane tickets out of his money to go to our in-laws' place. He and his family have been angry at me. His sister has constantly bullied me for over 10 years for dumb things like not making my man a plate, my education, work, not staying at home with kids, etc. I've never liked her or her ex. I don't want her in my home, and I wasn't having it because she has no damn money because of her own stupidity of being a wifey. I refused to support her, and now my husband's family is saying he should leave me and stay in Houston with them and help his sister. I told him he could choose his sister over me, and if he's not back in 24 hours, I'm throwing his crap on the street and letting the homeless take it. Am I the idiot for telling my sister-in-law to find another provider because I'm not it? I know it seems mean, but how she's mistreated me and encouraged others to gossip about me has made me not care about her situation at all. Honey, I've mistakenly opened my home and wallet for extended family who didn't respect me, thinking the olive branch would help. I can't explain why, but it makes them hate you more and feel entitled to your money. When you eventually want to stop and let them stand on their own feet, they become more resentful than they ever were. Hard not the idiot from me. Letting people who don't respect you as a person in your home is a mistake 100% of the times I've seen it done. If the other option was homelessness for the kids, that's different, but they have a family in Houston and are probably better off there. This is spot on. My sister-in-law lives with her mother rent-free but never passes up the opportunity to crap-talk her, be rude to her, or call her a narcissist. My mother-in-law is no saint, but it isn't even a quarter of how terrible her moocher daughter makes her sound. Helping rude people who are already put down does nothing to help the relationship between the two. I wonder if OP's husband was sending money to the family that was still in Mexico, and once he married OP and had his own family stopped that, his angry sister-in-law was off and she of course blamed OP. My son-in-law is from Guatemala. Before he and my daughter started having a family, he sent money home every month to help them. When their daughter was born, he told his family he could no longer send them money because he had his own family now, and they'd be the bigger person, send some money to Houston. Although I imagine sister-in-law has cast OP as a villain, there is absolutely nothing she can do to get out of it. I, 29 male, have 2 siblings. My sister Lucy, 28, and brother Joe, 26. We had very different parents growing up. I went no contact over a decade ago, while my brother and sister have the best of memories with them. My parents took better care of them, cared more about their well-being, and fought for them. I always came last. I was the first to need glasses as a kid, but the last to get them because they delayed it and prioritized my siblings getting them. By my turn, they had spent so much that I had to go for the cheapest pair that didn't fit me. When I was a teenager, I developed a cyst. It caused me some pain and surgery was advised to get it removed. But because it wasn't an essential surgery, my parents said it could wait until it needed to be removed or until I was old enough to pay for it myself. They left me dealing with daily pain because they didn't consider it worth the money. I tried begging my parents, but they told me they didn't want to pay for unnecessary surgery. I told them it would improve my life by being pain-free, and they said I was living just fine. They sat my siblings down for college talks before they entered high school. They never had those talks with me. They didn't even mention it when I would come home with stuff from school about college options. My parents never tried to contact me when I went no contact. I did lose touch with my siblings for a couple of years. We had a very strained relationship for about 2 years after contact was made when Joe moved out at 19, and we went from very strained to regular strained. They don't understand my experience with our parents, and they disliked that I told them we had different parents, even with the same people as parents. Both parents are now sick and require care. Mom is a little worse than Dad at the moment, but per Lucy that changes depending on how they're doing. They're looking at nursing facilities where they'll get the best care, and they are expensive, So my siblings want to split the cost 3 ways. I told them I wouldn't pay for our parents' care. They told me I have to and surely I owe them this much. I told them the only care I would ever pay for is the kind where they get treated the same as they treated me. They told me not to be spiteful, and as the oldest I should think of it as helping them as well. Am I the idiot? Surely I owe them this much. Nah, you don't owe this to your siblings or your parents. Not the idiot. You're not required to pay for the care of your aging parents even if you had a great relationship with them, let alone paying for the care of parents that you consciously chose to distance yourself from over a decade ago. If your siblings decide to foot that cost, good on them, but don't let them make you feel bad for having a valid boundary. As the oldest, you should teach your younger siblings the old saying, you reap what you sow. They should wait for care until it's really needed or they can pay for it themselves. You went no contact and are simply continuing with the no contact. Why would they expect you to want to contribute financially to parents with whom you have no relationship? Something people forget is that we do not owe our parents anything just because they brought us into the world. OP should get a paternity test to even see if it's his real dad or if his mom cheated and that's why they mistreat him. Please, see an attorney and see if filial responsibility applies to your jurisdiction. You might be legally required to contribute. My boyfriend 30 and I, 25 female, have been dating for a year and a half. Something has come up in our relationship recently that I'm not sure about. I've made many trips to see my boyfriend and his family and his friends whenever he invites me, and I can move around my schedule. He says meeting his family is really important, so I try very hard, even rearranging pretty tricky work, but it's always been okay. We work at the same place but in different sections, so our schedules can be kinda crazy. I like meeting his family and friends, but I also talk to him about how important it is for him to meet mine. He always says he's down for it. I've asked countless times whenever a friend invites me or a family member is around in the area to come and meet them, but he always makes up an excuse. His go-to is just that work is crazy, and I don't doubt that, but sometimes I know it's a company off day and the slow season, and he still says he's got a lot to catch up on. I tell him it's okay if he doesn't want to meet any of them, just say so. He gets defensive and says he does, but he hasn't met anyone in the year and a half. Now, one of my close friends is getting married and it's an intimate wedding. I can bring a +1, but I know that the wedding is super small. I asked my boyfriend about the wedding and if he was interested in attending weeks ahead. He just kind of said, yes, but I'm going to be working those days, it'll be busy for me, etc. At this point, that's a hard no. I invite one of my other friends. He's a really nice guy and has been one of my closest friends since we were kids. He happily says yes, and when the wedding day comes around and my boyfriend finds out I will have my +1 as a man, he's furious. I try to explain that my friend and I have been friends forever, and that he's gay and in a very long partnership and will not be making any moves on me, my boyfriend's concern. My boyfriend got angry and said that he didn't believe me and how come he was just finding out about this friend, it's all so sus, etc. I told him that if he bothered to meet any of my friends any of the times I invited him, he would have met my friend and realized there was nothing between us besides friendship. He stormed out and hasn't been very talkative to me. I feel like an idiot, but I also feel like I didn't do anything wrong. Not the idiot, but why are you with him? He doesn't respect you or your time. A year and a half in, he still hasn't met any of your friends. That's concerning. I'm not saying he has to be buddy-buddy with them, but it's rather hypocritical of him to push you to meet his friends and family but not bother to do the same for you. This wedding isn't the most pressing problem in your relationship. You're right. If he'd bothered to meet your family and friends, he would know about this friend of yours. He would have waited till the last minute and then flaked on the wedding, leaving you with no one to go with since it might be too late to ask your friend. This way, you have someone you can actually count on. In my opinion, till he gets off his butt and makes an effort, he doesn't get an opinion, and I would have visited his family for the last time till he does. It sounds like you do all the compromising, which is not a compromise at all, and I'm just wondering what you actually get out of this relationship. Everyone's the idiot here. Thanks for his attitude and reaction in general, but it does sort of feel like you just dropped this bomb and are taking someone else without warning. I imagine he is suspicious of this sudden friend popping up suddenly when you've been friends forever. If you've dated for 1.5 years, how has this friend never come up if he's such a good friend? You have the right to bring someone else, of course, especially a friend, but I understand his being uncomfortable and suspicious with you dropping all this information so fast about someone who came out of nowhere. I, a 30-year-old female, live in Los Angeles where rent is really high. I live in a house with 2 roommates, 30 and 50 females. My 30-year-old roommate Kay has been battling an autoimmune chronic illness for a couple of years. She's not able to eat many foods and has spells where her energy is drained. My 50-year-old roommate Tammy is emotionally immature, doesn't help with chores, and tends to be really forgetful. For example, she once broke a toilet seat and didn't bother to replace it before going on a last-minute trip out of town. After I got the delayed utility payment for her, it came with a poop emoji attached to it. I'm responsible for the major utility bills, water, power and internet. It's hard getting payments from Kay and Tammy because of Kay's health issues and Tammy's irresponsibility. They also have 2 dogs who are very loud and cause a ruckus. I've been having a hard time coping with Kay's health problems. It's horrible for me to say it, but when she's down, she's down. That leaves the majority of household chores, bills and trash on me. I'm in school and working full-time. I can't stand living like this anymore. Recently, a friend was looking to fill a roommate vacancy. I will pay more for rent, but the location is closer to my college and work. I feel guilty moving out because of Kay's health issues. She relies on me to help her get groceries when she's sick. Not to mention, Tammy does nothing at all to help around the house. Kay even said that if I moved out, it would be bad for her because of her health problems. She says she's trying to get better, but she's been saying that for over a year and it's affecting my life too. So, am I the idiot if I move out? Not the idiot. You deserve to protect your own mental health as well, and also to have a physical space where you feel calm and comfortable. Managing a household for 2 other grown adults is also not your responsibility. I do feel bad for Kay, so if there's anything you can do to help ease the transition by finding a good new roommate, or helping Kay find resources that might help her manage life going forward without relying on Tammy, maybe help her set up weekly grocery deliveries or something, then I think you should do that if you can. But beyond that, ultimately you should do what is best for you. She needs home health care, not another roommate. Kay needs to take action to get her medical team on board and get her the help she needs. Kay and Tammy are the ultimate users. Roommates have no responsibility for the health of roommates unless something they specifically are doing is causing their health to decline. Exactly. My previous flatmate was chronically ill and refused to do anything about it but lumped it all on me. Found out later he'd been offered all the assistance in the world but refused and nominated me without telling me or anyone else. The idiot thought there was no problem doing that, and I would have refused from the outset as I've been a carer before and he knew that. He constantly lies about his abilities so much he believes it in a blind effort to appear normal. Took years to get out of there as housing here is ridiculous. When I stopped doing anything and everything, he became violent, and legally I couldn't do anything because it wasn't considered family violence. Nobody has the right to volunteer your time and energy without your permission or without you knowing the full scope of the issue. I don't care if it's in a relationship or not. Get out, OP. Your flatmates are deliberately using you to prop up and make their lives easier. So, I'm a 28-year-old female and my fiancé is a 32-year-old male. We've been together for 4 years. So, for some context, he has 1 child who he had at 16. She lives with my fiancé. After he had her at 20, he got a vasectomy as he didn't want any more kids. I never really wanted kids. My mindset was if I have one, I have one. If I don't, I don't. So I got pregnant. I told him and he was angry as he said I cheated on him. He threw me out that same day. I was so sad and lonely. I could stay with my mother as she believed me. I lost many of my friends and got a bad reputation at work, so now I work from home. My mom talked him into doing a DNA test at 18 weeks. He was the father. He was begging me to take him back, go live with him again and let him make it up to me. He's been doing very well doing that. He set up a whole nursery and goes to every doctor's appointment. I really want to forgive him. I really do, as he seems like he'll make a good father. And his daughter is so excited for her little sister and she wants to plan. All I do is just remember how when I had my morning sickness, my mother took care of me, not him. How when I needed to go to the hospital, my mother took me, not him, and he didn't even come to see me. I don't know, I've been breaking down so much because of this. I don't know if I should forgive him and try to put it past us. My best friend said I should just let the past be the past and focus on the baby. My mother thinks we should just break up if I can't forgive him. So, am I the idiot for not forgiving him? Not the idiot. You don't just accuse someone of cheating. That's a huge breach of trust. and he was obviously not smart enough to realize that vasectomies aren't 100%, and of course now he regrets his actions. Also, there is a test. You have to go back and ensure it is okay. He's at fault twice. He failed to make sure it was successful, and then he just blamed you when he was at fault. I'm not justifying his words or actions, but a lot of guys think that a vasectomy is 100% stop to having children, when that's just not the case. While he shouldn't have accused you of cheating, he should have asked for a DNA test just for his own mind's well-being. People make mistakes. I hope that you two can work out your issues in counseling. Hope you have a healthy baby and a fantastic future, no matter how this turns out for you. I agree with you, but even asking for a DNA test from your fiancé comes across as you accusing her of cheating. OP, he showed you his worst. How he reacts under challenging situations. Is that how you want to spend your life? Wondering if the slightest thing you do would result in you out on the street? He wouldn't even listen to you. How would someone with that temperament make a good father? Can you imagine walking around on eggshells for the rest of your life, afraid you might be tossed out a game without a chance to defend yourself or your child? Trust has been completely broken. You're entitled to everything you're feeling.